The night changed everything when the rain began to fall in slow, deliberate sheets, the kind that made the city feel smaller and quieter, as if the world itself was holding its breath. I remember standing under a flickering streetlight in a small town in Ohio, my jacket soaked, my thoughts heavier than the clouds above. That was the moment I realized some questions are not meant to be answered quickly, because they come carrying the weight of years, memories, and love that was never spoken out loud. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of love that grows in unexpected places, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them most. My best friend, Michael, had been part of my life for as long as I could remember. We met as teenagers in a modest church youth group in Indiana, bonded by awkward laughter, shared prayers, and the kind of dreams that feel endless when you are young. Life, however, has a way of testing friendships. College pulled us in different directions. Careers demanded more time than we wanted to give, and adulthood slowly placed invisible walls between our conversations. Yet no matter how long we went without speaking, it always felt like no time had passed when we met again. That familiarity was comforting, but it was also dangerous, because somewhere along the way, my feelings had changed into something deeper that I never allowed myself to confess. Michael was the kind of person everyone trusted. He volunteered at church, helped neighbors without being asked, and carried his faith quietly, never forcing it on anyone. I admired that about him, even as I tried to ignore the ache in my chest whenever he talked about his plans to move to California for work. I told myself that real friendship meant letting go, even when it hurt. I convinced myself that God had a different plan for me, one that did not include crossing the fragile line between friendship and love. The day everything shifted was the day of his sister's wedding in a small town outside Columbus. The church was filled with soft hymns, white flowers, and the gentle hum of people celebrating love. I sat alone in the back pew, watching couples hold hands, feeling both happy for them and painfully aware of my own loneliness. Michael noticed me before the ceremony ended. His smile was the same as always, warm and reassuring, but his eyes carried a sadness I had never seen before. It was as if he was standing at the edge of something and did not know whether to step forward or turn back. After the wedding, the reception spilled into a nearby community hall. Laughter echoed off the walls, and music played softly in the background. Michael and I found ourselves walking outside, away from the noise, under a sky painted with fading sunset colors. The air was cool, and the silence between us felt heavier than any argument we had ever avoided. That was when he asked me, quietly and almost desperately, if I could be his for just a day. Not forever, not with promises or expectations, just one day to feel what it might be like if things had been different. I wish I could say I answered confidently, guided by faith and wisdom, but the truth is I was terrified. Loving him, even for a day, meant risking everything we had built over the years. It meant opening a door I had kept locked for my own protection. My heart wrestled with my mind and my prayers felt tangled and uncertain. I thought about all the sermons I had heard about patience and trusting God's timing. I wondered if this was a test or a blessing disguised as fear. We spent that day together like time itself had slowed down. We walked through quiet streets, shared memories of childhood, and sat by a river where the water reflected the sky like a promise. There were no grand gestures, no dramatic declarations, just the simple closeness of two people who knew each other deeply. I noticed the way he listened, truly listened, and how his presence made me feel seen in a way I had not felt in years. At the same time, every smile carried the knowledge that this was temporary, a borrowed moment that would soon have to be returned. As evening approached, the weight of reality settled in. Michael admitted that he was leaving for California the next morning, chasing a job opportunity he could not ignore. He confessed that he had been afraid to ask for more because he did not want to lose me entirely. Hearing that broke something open inside me. I realized that love does not always come with certainty or guarantees. Sometimes it comes as a question, asking whether you are brave enough to answer honestly. That night, I prayed harder than I ever had. I asked God for clarity, for peace, for the courage to do the right thing even if it hurt. I remembered verses about love being patient and kind, about trusting the Lord with all your heart. Slowly, I understood that loving someone does not always mean holding on. Sometimes it means giving them freedom, even when your heart begs you not to. When morning came, the rain returned, soft and steady. We stood in the parking lot where his car was packed and ready to go. There were no dramatic goodbyes, no promises of what might happen someday. Instead, there was gratitude for the day we had shared and an unspoken understanding that it had changed us both. I watched him drive away, feeling a mix of sorrow and peace, trusting that God would use even this pain for a greater purpose. Life did not magically become easier after that. There were nights when loneliness crept in, and mornings when I questioned my choices, but something inside me had shifted. I became more open, more honest with myself and with God. I poured my energy into serving others, volunteering at church, and rebuilding dreams I had put aside. Slowly, healing replaced heartache, and hope found its way back into my prayers. Months later, a letter arrived from California. Michael wrote about his new life, the challenges he faced, and the faith that carried him through moments of doubt. He thanked me for the day we shared, saying it reminded him of what real connection felt like and encouraged him to pursue his future without fear. Reading his words, I felt a gentle warmth instead of pain. Our story had not ended the way I once imagined, but it had shaped us in ways we both needed. If this story has touched your heart, if it has reminded you of a love you never spoke or a chance you were afraid to take, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and let us know in the comments how it made you feel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive and reaching others who need hope. Before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below with a heart emoji or a short message if you believe that even one day of true love can change a lifetime. Today, I look back with gratitude rather than regret. I believe God allows certain moments into our lives not to give us everything we want, but to show us who we are becoming. Loving Michael for just a day taught me courage, faith, and the beauty of letting go. And sometimes, that is the greatest love story of all.